Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again. This another Sunday to the program, Ian and Ian Real Talk. It's always a pleasure to being able to entertain, educate, inspire, uplift, motivate another individual. And this afternoon, with me, it's always Ian, and Ian, the shorter Ian, and the taller Ian is me. It's surprising that someone was called Ian Short. But but with us this afternoon, we have no other than Nadine Faustin-Parker, a three-time Olympian, coach, author, and so much more, which we'll allow her to share. So, Miss Faustin-Parker, we just want to welcome you to this platform, Ian and Ian Real Talk. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm so excited.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family in the track and field community. And we just want to welcome you again to another episode of Real Talk with Ian and Ian. We're really so excited. I'm excited, just to be able to, be on the platform with a former teammate and a former Olympian. We've been to the 2000 Olympics together in Sydney, Australia. And I'm just so happy and just inspired just to see, the progress that she has made. She has, going on to coach at her alma mater, UNC Chapel Hill, and then she's now currently coaching in the University of Cincinnati, and she's doing big things. We're going to talk a lot about, our foundation. We're going to talk about her book. And we're just going to talk about life. We're going to talk about real success story here. I considered her a success story. Born in Long Island, New York, and just the whole journey of her parents, being from Haiti, the Republic of Haiti, and just the whole fact that she was able to represent her parents' birth country. It's just always good. So we're just gonna get right into the program. But today we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Ian just gonna open up with a word of prayer, just to bless the program, just to help us to lead by the Holy Spirit.
Okay. Most righteous and eternal God, as we come before your presence this afternoon, dear God, we just want to give you thanks for your guidance, your protection, your deliverance, dear God. Dear God, tonight, dear God, as we come before you, dear God, you see us, you know us, dear God, individually, dear God. Dear God, this program, dear God, have been a blessing to many, dear God, and have continued to be, dear God. But, dear God, we just want to give you thanks, dear God, for allowing us, dear God, to initiate such a program, dear God, that we are able to come on here and inspire, motivate, and uplift another individual, dear God. And for that, we are just thankful for that, dear God. Dear God, overall, we're thankful for life, dear God. Dear God, tonight, dear God, before we open this platform, dear God, I just want you, dear God, to cover each and every one, dear God, that will be watching this program, dear God, even the rebroadcast, dear God. Dear God, I ask that you bless, dear God, my host, dear God, Ian, dear God, and dear God, Miss Nadine Faustin-Parker and her family, dear God. I ask that you continue to bless them, dear God. Continue to deliver, continue to protect us, dear God, and guide us. In your precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. See, like you got that one. Was reading from a book, my brother.
Man, when you're praying, man, God just give you words. You don't know where they come from. You just need to open your mouth and start. And before I start the program this evening, I just want to say that I'm just so thankful to God for His saving grace. We all know it's kind of a wet season here in Florida, Palm Beach, and for me, just a couple moments back, it could be a different story if it wasn't for God. I was actually, my car was drawn from the water. Just the split of a second, I was basically in a pool of water, and my car just keep going further. And lucky we came out through the window, me and my nephew. But in it all, we just gotta give God thanks. And I look at it, and man, say, it could have been so much different. And sometimes we hear of people who lose their life, and sometimes it's not much fault of of themselves, but just in the split of a second, you take your eye off that road and something could go wrong. But tonight we just want to give God thanks that He's there and He's always looking out for His children. And I'm just so blessed this afternoon that He had an eye on me. So again, as we say, we just want to just welcome everyone to this program, and we just giving God thanks.
Amen. That's beautiful.
All right, all right. All right. So we're gonna get right into the program. I'm just got so much to talk about. I'm just trying to figure out where to start. But as usual, we're gonna go way, way back to the grassroots.
Okay.
It's always good to go just give the listeners a little history about how everything all started. So just want you to take us back. You know, Probably in primary school or in elementary school. I've kind of read a little bit and saw that you was a multi sports person. You was very diverse into different sports. So let's talk about your ultimately track and field. So let's talk about when did you actually first tell yourself that I want to run, and what was the experience like, to start your running career off.
Right. That's an awesome question. Hi everybody. So I guess I started running like on the streets in New York with my cousins. All my cousins, for the most part, were boys, and they had a lot of friends around the block. And I always wanted to race my cousins and the guys, and I started beating them. And I have a very competitive cousin. His name is Gene. He actually lives in Florida too. And we would have ties, or I would win, and sometimes he would beat me. But when I would beat him, he would tell everybody that he had me. But long story short, when I got to seventh grade, they had a co-ed team, and so I was able to race against the men, the boys and the girls, and I was undefeated with the exception of one guy. And it was at that time where I was like, I'm ready for this. And then the varsity team wanted me to run, but I told my mom I liked where I was at that moment. I wasn't ready to go to the varsity team, but so I enjoyed it. So that's kind of what created that dream seed for me. And then I just kept getting good. And I think the turning point for me was in high school around my sophomore year. I got injured and I was playing volleyball and doing some outside hitting exercises. And I got injured. It caused me to have to take off for 3 months. I was in a full leg cast. And I don't know. I just sat and I missed the sport even more. And I went to end up having the best season of my career when I got back to it. I put all my energy, all my attention into it. And, that was for me, that eye opener for me. And then one time I will say, I saw my name in the newspaper, Faustin wins 300-meter title. And to see it that big in the newspaper, and to look up at my parents and to see their grins, I was super excited. So after that, I was like, let's keep this going. I like this. So
All right.
yeah. So back in the day, it was the newspaper. Now it's social media, but it's the same effect. And from that point on, it kind of took off.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So my second question obviously is going to go towards the hurdles. We
Yes.
know that you start running in the seventh grade. When were you introduced to the hurdles, and what was that like? How was you got introduced to trying the hurdles?
So my high school coach was actually a wrestling coach. And so he was helping out the track and field team. So I didn't do the hurdles until my junior year, and I only did the 400 hurdles. We had wooden hurdles and a cinder track. And I would look at the ones that were doing the 100-meter hurdles and the 110s. And every time they nicked a hurdle, their legs would bleed. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I need some space in between the
Yeah.
hurdles. And so I did that. And when I was getting recruited for college at UNC, I went as a quarter hurdler slash sprinter, never having touched the 100 hurdles. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it wasn't until my first year with Coach Fry, who's now the head coach of South Carolina. He was the assistant coach at the time. And he said within like the first week, Nene, I have another event for you. And I said, what's that? I was like, am I going to do the 800? Like, what's going on? And he simply said, he was like, you have great speed, great coordination. I want you to run these short hurdles. And, after my first month of having that crazy abdominal pain from having to hold my core up and everything, I figured it out. And God has blessed me with the beautiful career.
All right, awesome, awesome. I'm going to use my bonus question before I put you over the in.
Okay.
So I don't. I want to back up a little bit about how was your journey in high school. Tell us a little bit about your accomplishment in terms of going to state, and and then just tell us a little bit about how recruiting. How did you end up at North Carolina? Mhm.
Oh man. I guess, I would go to nationals in high school. Didn't win like a bunch of awards. It was really just my heart. With my parents being from Haiti, it was always academics, right? So it's a lot of academics. The sports are just, something to keep me well rounded and balanced. But I really had a love for it. And so it was one of those things of in high school, I was a runner up, but not a state champion. I left high school running, I know my times, 25:02 and like 11:09 and maybe, yeah, 11:09, 25:02. And then the quarter hurdles was about a 62. And so when I went getting recruited, a lot of places in the East Coast and some Ivy Leagues, they were recruiting me, St. John's, Dartmouth, Penn, UPenn. And I actually applied to 17 schools. The schools that wanted me to what's it called, they wanted me to commit in like the early season, I told them no. And I waited all the way until April, the very last moment. And actually UNC was my last visit that I took. And
Mm.
then when I told my dad that I loved it, he said, you're going to go again. Because if my daughter is going to go so far from me, he was like, you need to be sure that's where you
Yeah.
want to be. And so he sent me again. And I said, I love it even more.
Ooh.
So, and,
Yeah.
and my dad, let me tell you, the schools that were closer, my dad said, I'll get you a car. I'll get you this, just stay closer to home. But I ended up going to UNC and it definitely worked out.
All right. All right. All right. Turn you over to Ian Thomas.
Okay, okay. So, I see the big smile once you start talking about mommy and daddy.
Yes.
I can see that smile coming now. So that can tell me you had a wonderful childhood growing up. So before we get much further, I just want you to just tell us a little bit about mommy and daddy and those values that they would have instilled in you at a tender age.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Mhm.
Mom and dad were just phenomenal. They introduced me to the Lord. They're very rooted. And the moral values, it's always been do unto others, and teach, well, not teach them, but touch them the way that you would like for others to do for you and how you'd like for others to treat you. And that's how they always live by. I've never heard my parents growing up even cuss. That's just who they are. And just really pure, very kind, very smart, great listeners, and very supportive. No matter what it was, the good and the bad. You know what we always tell? I'm a mother of two, and I'm always telling my children, hey, I love you. You tell me the good and the bad. You don't just tell me just the good stuff and then I hear it, out on the streets or from somebody else about the bad stuff. So they taught me about, family and what it means and just communication. And I've honestly unconditional love. That's what they've taught me. Really great. They migrated here from the Republic of Haiti. They first went to school in Belgium, and that's actually where I was born. My sister and I were born in Brussels, Belgium, and then we moved to New York when we were quite young. And my brother was born in New York. But my parents, they just taught us about hard work and understanding that you there's going to be peaks and valleys in our lives. And it's really about our attitude and the choices that we make despite whatever may happen, that is going to allow us to persevere and push through and be a success story, be somebody to uplift others and empower others. So very loving and great parents.
Great. So I basically realized that you're a family person already, and I just want to ask you this question here.
Hmm.
So, what does it mean to a child to have such support from both parents at such a tender age? What did that mean to you to have all that support?
I felt invincible. I felt so powerful. You know, like I said, if it was one of those things, they were always there to say, go ahead and try. Oh, it didn't work out this time. Keep going, keep going. Look at your dad, look at your mom, look to see what they're accomplishing. And they were just, it just made me feel invincible, to be honest with you. And it's empowering. So, even with my kids, I try to do the same thing, try to just be just as supportive, let them know. But then you do also learn too that um, your choices and your words, they were very careful with number one, what they exposed us to, and the choices and words that they would express to us. And I get it now because they're powerful. They can cause us to go in one direction versus the other. My sister and I, we talk about it sometimes because it was when we're in the midst of them. It's like, your safety net. When we went out to college, it was like, there's this gray area. Now what? It's not said the same way, or certain things aren't presented the same way. So I was able to learn a lot, but within their midst, I mean, still to this day, 44 years old by God's grace, and I still feel the same way with them.
Great, great. Coming to that now, I'm just picking at you as I see the smile, and I see what drive you, where the energy is coming from. So early in your career, you will be talking about running with the guys.
Yeah.
How how much motivation it is when you beat those guys out there in the street. What does it mean for you when you I've heard a few ladies come on here and they feel really good when they beat these guys.
For sure, it's bragging rights. You can talk so much smack to them. And it felt good. Like I was able to hang with the girls, but I was able to also hang with the guys, and it was like, honestly, it was respect. I had respect on my name, right? And so it's great. It was a great feeling. Everybody's like, is your cousin here? Is Nadine here? Let's go. Is she ready? Stuff like that. So I loved it. And then on the when I was in seventh grade, eighth grade with the co-ed teams, it was awesome. I actually met the guy that I could not beat. The one guy. Let me tell you the story real quick. So
We want to hear it.
so my mom and dad are like, we have some friends coming over, and get dressed. We're gonna have some company. And then I'm like, but who are they? Have I met them before? And they're like, no, you're gonna meet them for the first time. They just moved to the area. And I was like, okay, cool. And as soon as I opened the door, I saw the guy standing behind his mom, and my mouth just flew open. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So it was just like, I was like, you're the one I haven't been able to beat, But we actually ended up becoming really good friends. He went on to, my goodness, play football and race for Harvard University. His name is Jeff Compass.
Man, I'm gonna
Yeah.
turn you over to Ian, but next time give him a punch, man. If you're gonna beat him on the track, just
I'll make
you
note of
you you,
that.
you got him in your zone there.
Yeah.
Back to you, Ian.
All right, all right, guys. So I'm gonna continue back into the track and field. So now just talk about your. We're pretty much up to college right now. You're at UNC Chapel Hill, and you have met this great coach that we're going to talk about a little bit more. What he meant to you, and what did you learn, and what did you respect mostly about Coach Fry. To me,
Hmm.
he's one of the legendary coach in track and field, and he's still doing a great job. So tell us a little bit about some of your memories, competing for UNC Chapel Hill. Some of your accomplishment. What can you remember most? In terms of going to the NCAA championship, competed in the ACC. Just bring us back a little bit and just tell us some of your most memorable moment.
All right. UNC, that was a great time for me. The team, we were really a team, we were really a family. And the biggest thing is I was surrounded by a number of winners, people that just wanted to succeed in life. And there's nothing more motivating than that. It's like, Nene, do you have your 10? That was my nickname, but they would say, you ready for your 10 points? You ready to bring it? You ready to help the team? And, despite whatever may have happened, little petty things, or, just life challenges for different student athletes, myself, we were always able to come together and understand the mission. And I think that's what it taught me a lot, was just when you have a group of people from all different walks of life, experiencing different things, but we could come out and consistently win and go to battle and, put things aside and focus on the main target, the main goal. That's life changing. And for me, even at nationals, I mean, it didn't matter when our teammates were on the track. We were watching, we were supporting them. It's a different time. We didn't have cell phones back then to that degree, but it was one of those things of like, we were intently focused on how everybody was doing, at their meets. We valued each other, and we wanted to see everybody succeed. It wasn't about me versus them. So it was that unit, and that goes a long way. So UNC was, it was a great experience as far as learning some of the fundamentals that I learned at home, which was treating others as you would wish for them to treat you. And I felt like it just continued to resonate, on the foundations of what my parents had already instilled. So it was great. The coaches were organized. Coach Craddock is no longer with us, and but he was great. I mean, he always gave us quotes to read and follow. And I took on that, because I actually still do that with my athletes. It's something that resonates. If you don't hear it from me, hear it from somebody else that too has been successful, and wants to breathe something into you in hopes that it'll empower you. So it was really a great experience. But I would have to say the biggest thing was, you surround yourself around great people, you too will be uplifted, and be careful of the company that you keep. That really resonated. And just, winning. If you believe, you will achieve.
All right, awesome, awesome. Who were some of your teammates while you was in college?
Oh my goodness. We had Mary, my team. So we had Marion Jones, we had Tiffany Weatherford, Monique Hunt, Latasha Colander Richardson, now I believe, Milton Campbell, Mike Ballard, Nicole Gamble, Ta Frias, she was used to be Ta Bingham. Just some really all around Olympians.
All
Just so
right.
many. Sharon Couch Jewel, or Sharon Couch, I should say now. So just really awesome people. Takesha Quick, like flying. And then we had Curtis, we had Tony McCall, just great
Okay.
people. Yeah,
All
we had
right.
people that made teams.
All right, awesome, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Coach Fry. Just want to just real short summary. Just why you was at college. What can you remember? One thing that you remember that just stuck out with you that you learned from Coach Fry.
Coach Fry always has been a man of God. Like he always used to actually take a UC van or try to coordinate transportation for us on Sundays so that we could go to church. That was one thing that he started from my freshman year that I truly remember. He always made an effort, for us to have that spiritual balance. And then also, Coach Fry, he gave people second chances. He gave people second chances, and that's big. There's sometimes, when you're working with collegiate student athletes, you do have some personnel that are, that will say, well, what have you done for me? Or it hasn't been too good lately, I'm done with you. But as we are educators, even as, as coaches, we're mentors and educators. And I feel like he showed me that, the right way to do. Is anybody perfect? No. But at the same time, in the midst of everything, I would say Coach Fry showed me how to lead showed me how to be balanced. And yeah, like I think the second chances, I think that's huge, because there were many times where some student athletes didn't make the right decisions, but he would talk to us and he would help us out, and he would help us to, get back on the path to make the better decisions so that we could be stronger women and men as we left the campus.
All right, all right. Well, I'm just gonna say go Tar Heel. I got a my daughter is a freshman at UNC Chapel Hill, and so I'm somewhat a little bit part of the family as a
Yes, no,
dad.
you're a part of the family. She's in it. You're part of the family. It's whose house? Hill's house. You're part of it.
So just tell us one thing. Just just being a student. Take the track and field away. Just being on campus, and just one thing that you remember. Just going to UNC that always will you'll share with your kids one day.
um, I guess for me, just growing up in New York and then going down south, you really, I felt always at peace at UNC. I always felt like, there was the world out there. There's so much that you can do, and it's just so different in different areas. But I felt like I was able to find myself there. So I guess what I would want them to say, want youngsters to see is, you'll learn who you are, and you have the space to do it. And so it's basically be in the moment, so you can really benefit from all the beauty that university can provide.
All right, awesome. Over to you, Ian.
Wow, this is Faustin-Parker. As I listen to you, all I hear is all positivity. Uh, it's just like reeling out one statement after another. And I just imagine what it was like being in your company. At least you call those power athletes, but it seems like you were a leader in that part there. In terms of the motivational side of it, spiritual side of it. But I want to go back as early role model. Who would have been your early role models in life? Because I tell you, I see some greatness there.
Thank you. I guess the early role model, it's my parents. They just everything that they instilled, they're just phenomenal people. And then their sisters and brothers, very tight knit, and they're just very uplifting people. Yeah, they're all uplifting, and they're just really positive people. So those are my role models. They worked really hard. Like I said, coming from Haiti, which is recognized as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, to accomplish all that they have. My mom's a retired nurse. My dad is in the health professions as a OBGYN high risk. He retired and then went back to work. He just missed it so much. So he wants to help and educate youngsters coming up. So it's my parents, and they just continue to. I see them, to this day. I mean, they just continue to inspire me. They just go hard with everything that they do, and yeah, it would be them.
Wow. Wow, that gave me a total summary of your parents. I won't even go down there. I can see that the parenting was superb there, and I expect you're doing that and more for at least your athletes that you're coaching and so forth. So I already know they have a great coach in you, you
Thank
know.
you. Thank you.
And so I know you're now a coach yourself, but I know you speak highly of your coach also. What would have been one of the best advice that your coach would have given to you that you would, even after the sport, you decide to take up coaching?
Um, I guess the best advice, I was having a really tough time, but this was actually one of my professional coach, and I remember him, telling me face to face, like, you have greatness in you. You can do all that you want to do. Don't get distracted about what's going on to the left or to the right of you. Stay the course. Follow your mission. And I just remember hearing those words, and that allowed me to just channel and focus on me, so that I could continue to be a light for other people. Because when you're distracted or you have chaos in your own life, you can't really be a word of inspiration to others. And I just remember in that moment, I realized that I was letting outside things interfere with me. And so when I'm dealing with my student athletes, I try to bring them back to the center, to the core of saying, who are you? Do you know who you are? And, that's who we need. And you need to be in the moment. So I would say the opportunity to be a mentor and kind of counsel the student athletes as they aspire in the footsteps that I've gone already. That's what I truly love about coaching.
Okay. Another question. Over your athletic career up to university, is there anything that you had struggled with?
Hmm. Let's see. I mean, we all have our struggles. I think because I was always conscious of, because my parents, you just watch your words, you try to be that light. Sometimes, I would want to tell people some things that I think I found it difficult. I found it difficult to have those tough conversations. And coaching has helped me a lot with that, because when you're helping young men and women, you have to have those tough conversations. So I'd have to say, um, having that balance, knowing when to say no, knowing when to, advocate for yourself, knowing when to just say how you truly feel. I would say that would probably be something that I had challenges with when I was younger, that I'm happy that I've been able to overcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. I guess it's back to the track and field again.
Yeah.
So, so we're gonna move along. We're gonna, I think for the collegiate career, I think that you're very proud of everything you have done. So we're just gonna talk about what was the motivating factor now for you want to continue to run after college? I know you have actually graduated in 99. So you
Hmm.
graduated from college and, I know the Olympics was coming up. I mean,
Right.
so just tell us now, when did you actually thought about, what, I want to continue to run and see, what I could become, being an Olympian, actually three-time Olympian. So just tell us, how did you actually, how the decision was made? How hard was it just for you to say, you know what, I'm finishing college. I'm not sure how I'm going to transition into being a professional and where to start. Just tell us, what were your driving force, to continue to do track?
Right. So when I started the hurdles, I think I told you that was my first year, my freshman year. So I started running them and finished that year at 14, 13 or something like that. And then I finished my senior year running 13.2. And I was like, wow, I really want more. I'm only 4 years in on this event. I really want more. And I kept asking, my goodness, I didn't even say Monique Hennigan. I remember I was asking Monique Hennigan, Olympian as well, world championship qualifier as well. Where are you going? Milton Campbell, where are you going? Latasha, where are you going? And everybody's like, I don't know yet. We're trying to figure it out too. And then, they finally told me where they were going. Some of them wanted to go to Coach Fry. And then so we were kind of getting split up. And I just kept trying the whole summer. But that was when I realized, I was like, I want more out of this.
All right, awesome, awesome. So now that's in 1990. So in 2000, now that you actually, when did you actually make that decision? Because obviously you was born in New York, as you know, as a American citizen, but your parents are from the Republic of Haiti. When did you make that decision, and how did you make that decision that you want to represent Haiti?
Right. So again, so I was born in Brussels, Belgium.
Oh,
But yeah,
thanks for.
but but what happened was I was at a USA championship, and a young guy, Dudley Dorval, he was at UConn, and he had just graduated, and he told me, hey. Haiti has a team, and they asked if you would want to run for them. I'm like, Haiti has a team? I didn't even know Haiti has a team. And I was just like, well, I never thought about it. I didn't know they have the team. I was like, I have to ask my parents. I don't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
And when I went to, because we knew that the Haiti had soccer and everything. They were really, always advertising about that, but not really track and field. And so I talked about it with my parents, and I said, there's a delegate he would like for me to run. And I asked him what he thought. I told him another guy, Dudley, was thinking about making, I guess, the transfer to represent them. And, they said, well, it would be, I asked them how they felt, and they said that would be really nice to put Haiti on the map in a positive light. And they were like, when you think about it, all the media, were portrayed as, just very impoverished and in a negative light. And so for me, that was my way of putting my country kind of on my back and saying, yeah, I want to be a difference maker. I want to be a change maker. And that's how it happened.
All right, awesome, awesome. Well, made another great decision. Again, just to make that decision that you're going to, you know, try to represent Haiti and just try to represent them at the highest level,
Right.
and just to put them on the map. So, kudos to you. So, let's talk
Thank
about the year 2000 now. So this is training, trying to go for your first Olympics, and so just tell us about your experience. Your first Olympic. Just tell us what was that like. How did you feel? And just what did you remember about competing in the 2000 Olympics?
Oh man, that was probably the best games, and I think a lot of people could relate. It was pre 9/11, so security wasn't to the extent that it is now, and we were just we there was so much flexibility, but the athletes' village, was just so awesome to be able to meet all the different champions from their respective countries, and then just having the opportunity to train in the midst of other greats was really phenomenal to me. And then I guess what I really enjoyed was I also my family. They came,
Okay,
and I had
okay,
about 10 family members and friends that came to support. And so that was a great time. That was a great time. I had actually gotten injured prior to it. Um,
okay.
but it was a really, really great time.
All right, all right, all right. So, as you guys hear, the 2000 Olympian in Sydney, Australia, it was, one of the three Olympics that Nadine competed in. So, just in terms of off the track, at the Olympics, travel. How was it, traveling all the way to Australia? I mean, I know that's got to be a long flight, and with all of that. So, how was that experience just with the traveling going over to Australia?
It was just fun. I mean, it was a long trip, but I felt like I had already made a couple of trips just with running on the elite circuit. And so I figured I had it all figured out. I was gonna have a row of seats to myself if I could make it as comfortable as I could. I had some snacks, and it was fine. It was fun. I mean,
Okay.
it's the Olympic Games. I probably barely slept. Just so excited to land and see the country and see the stadium. So it was awesome.
All right, awesome. All right, I'm going to put you back over to Ian. I will continue the Olympics when you come back
You,
over.
you, you see what happened? I've been dodging all the Olympic question for Ian. To Olympian. I let him dig in deep. But
Okay.
before, all right. So anyway, with the Olympics, competing in your first Olympics, there, what did it do for you, Nadine, as an individual, and what did that mean for Haiti as a country?
It was huge. As an individual, I would say that uh I was disappointed when I didn't make it to the finals because I wanted to represent for Haiti in a bigger light on a bigger stage. But I remember the messages that I received. I remembered some handwritten letters that I had received from people that I didn't even know of, who were rooting and were so thankful and proud that that myself and Dud and the others were able to represent. So it an immense sense of pride. It definitely, got me even hungrier for the future Olympics to come. And so it set the tone. It set this tone of I want more. And it was awesome.
Okay, so you're well received by Haiti, even though you did not personally do your best. You feel like, you probably could have given some more. All right.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
all right. I know. So for us, everyone, it's challenging just dealing with disappointment. But hear it from you with that, not that you disappoint anybody, just making it to the Olympics. That means a lot to,
Right.
to many, everybody around the world. Just to know, I just can imagine how mommy and daddy feel to have, their daughter going out to the Olympics. Much
Right.
more now to represent in their home country. That would be such joy in itself. But for you, as an individual, you would have still feel like somehow I think I may have let them know I should have done much better. But
Right.
all right, so dealing with disappointment, I know can be challenging. So how did you really deal with this disappointment as self? But then to find it that guess what? I am going out there for the next one and I'm gonna represent. Where did you
Yeah.
find all that courage?
Well, what happened with me was, and I don't mind sharing it because I'm not the only woman that's probably had to deal with these things, but I actually had a ruptured ovarian cyst in a European um, challenge that I did like 4 weeks prior to leaving for Sydney, and I hit a hurdle in warm up and it ruptured, and I didn't know I had it. So one of those things for me, it was easy to pick myself up and say this was beyond me because there was some stuff that was released that made it very painful. But so for me, I was just hungry. I went back. I trained harder. I used to always work full time as I trained. 2004 was the first year that I actually took all my savings and, said, okay, I was going to just dedicate it to the sport. And I actually ran my best time in Athens, Greece, in the semifinals. So it was one of those moments for me that it just motivated me to want more.
You know what? I just want to say thank you for sharing, and sharing that, especially on the platform, because many of us we go through challenges, and some of us we stay silent, and we don't get help even further on in life because somebody to motivate, and that's what one of the reasons why we bring on individuals like you who are able to uplift and motivate others, and to show them that guess what, even if you hit a hurdle, you can get up and go on.
Exactly.
The world does not end here. There's another year you know and I'm really proud of you that you're able to really do that, and at least coming on the platform and sharing with us here. So with this, I just want to ask you, and I want to just go a little deeper
Mhm.
in that, where do you go for inspiration, which I already know. So I just want to know your relationship with God.
Right. The inspiration, yeah, I would definitely say it starts with the Lord. I was probably even better than I am now with my relationship, but it was just like just a lot of just praying. I also, for me, my mental outlet was either, which will sound funny for a sprinter, was to go on long runs and kind of clear my head, or to write. I love to write. And so for me, I would, just write different things. I would write the things that I was happy about, grateful for, but I'd also write the things down that were challenging to me. My family and friends, I have like book bags full of like diaries, and they're always like, you need to write a book. You need to take all this information and either write a movie script or just write a book. But those were personal to me. That was just my means of how I cope and how I was able to exhale. But that's where I would go. And inspiration, um, I would say probably just watching other people. At the time when I was learning the hurdles, somebody that I looked up to was Gail Devers. In the 100 hurdles, she had, I believe it was Graves' disease. She had things that she had to overcome, but despite it all, she pushed through. And so for me, that's what I would say. I just look towards other winners.
Great. So right now, in the upcoming future, there's many people who are aspiring to go to the Olympics, whatever event they do. But if you had a message for such individual that's going through preparation, what would that message be?
Bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. That is number one. If you're canceling yourself out, you have all these doubts in your mind. You need to channel your way of thought and bet on yourself. You have to be the first one to do that. And then next, I would say trust your coach, understand the plan, and then when you step to that line, That's it. Go out for it. You're not, don't worry about the outcome. Just give everything, and then everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into line. You can't worry about trying to call or figure out, prior to it happening, the outcome of the race. You just have to go, be in the moment, and give it your best shot. Every time I did that, I was successful. Whenever I let something creep in, I might, almost 7-step and crash a hurdle, just too many different things that are going on. You just have to allow yourself to have a clear mind.
Very powerful message. Thank you very much.
All right. So we're going to move along, and just going to get into a little bit about. We know that track and field is not all about just the Olympics. We know that there's World Championship, there's other games in between. The Olympics is every 4 year, so we know that even just preparing for the Olympics, there's World Championship and Pan American Games and a lot of other things that lead up to the Olympics, and
Mhm.
a lot of times it's actually some of those other games help you to actually perform good in the Olympics, because if you do it like the year before, then you probably feel like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to do it again. So just I want to talk a little bit about your career in general, overall, in terms of 3 Olympics. So that's 12 year. Just tell us a little bit about where did you like to compete? What countries? Just you could name about 2 or 3 that you really like that you probably would want to go back one day to visit. Your top 3 countries you like to compete in.
So love Paris. I think I went out there and I lived for quite some time in Paris. I met some awesome people, really supportive people where I've kind of lost a little connection with, but I feel like if I were to go back, we'd hit it off as if I never left. Paris is just awesome. Plus, I know how to speak French, so I felt very comfortable there. And then I would definitely say I would want to go back to Australia. Never,
Okay.
there are just certain parts. I was there for 3 weeks, but there were many things that I didn't get to do that I would love the opportunity to do and show my kids. The people were great. And another place, another country that I really enjoyed, Ireland. Very
Okay.
open-minded people, very nice people. When I would walk on the streets, people just in the community always welcoming me and saying hello. So I would say Ireland. So Paris, definitely Australia and Ireland.
All right, awesome, awesome. So yeah, so back continue. So during your career again, can you just share with us some of the struggles, just being a professional athlete, that you face during your athletic career?
Right. I think, and I kind of say it sometimes to the student athletes that I have because it goes a long way. But I always say also, like, my manager would say, you're as good as your last race. He's always said, I love you, I support you. But when it comes to this business side, you're as good as your last race. And I think that's something that's, there's always that underlying pressure and I guess, yeah, that pressure to consistently deliver, and I feel like I was definitely built for it. And that's why I was able to stay on the circuit for 10 years. But I found the challenges with that, you don't get a lane. How do you make sure that you stay, overseas and you're not, spending more than you're making? So different things like that, I would say. And, but I feel like my manager, I was with Mark Block for a long period of time. And I feel like because of our communication, we were able to be really straightforward with one another and, keep it going. But I would say the whole meet schedule platform, being that I represented Haiti, sometimes that it actually did present some challenges.
All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. So keeping on the same agenda, can you just share with us too what were some of the meets or places or one particular meet where you think you have your best performance? If you could just think back during my career, and it's probably going to be more than one, but there's a couple races that you're just like, man, I just love. I'm proud of myself today the way I
Right,
competed.
right. I
All
think
right.
one of my top memories was in Hania, Greece. It's spelled
Okay.
Chania, Hania, Greece. And
Yeah.
I remember my mom, she had said, you go to all these countries but I don't think you're taking time to take them in. I want you to kind of explore. I'm like, oh no, I'm focusing on what I need to focus on. It's my race.
Yeah.
She said, just go and walk. Go do something, even if it's for 10 minutes. So I just remember I was like, all right, I'm gonna go shopping. So I went shopping. I went out on the town, before the race. I got back within enough time, to get dressed and prepared for the meet. And I was just as relaxed as can be. And then I went out there. I ran like a 12:8, but for me, I think at that time that was one of my PRs. And I just remember feeling like I was on cloud nine. Anytime you hear your name on the loudspeaker as part of the top
Yeah.
contenders, that's an exhilarating moment. And then I took a flight back to the States, and then I was at the Adidas, what was it, Adidas Grand Prix in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And I came back and ran the same time, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. And so for me, I would say those were like some really proud moments when I was my most relaxed. I took my mom's advice, and it just showed me like, sometimes we can get in our own way. So I remember that being like a aha moment, like you need to just trust and just do you.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. And my last question before Ian Thomas would be uh, I wanted to find out that was there any particular time that you have felt like giving up? You just was like, man, I'm just, I don't think, you was kind of was just, feeling discouraged, and what was, what kept you going?
For sure. I would probably say my last year of competition was probably the hardest. It was
Yeah.
2008. I was dealing with stress fractures. I had told myself that, I wanted to lose some weight. So I cut dairy out of my diet. And then, yeah, I was about 28, 29, and then I started dealing with stress fractures. And so I remember for 2008, it took me forever to qualify. Didn't know if I was going to qualify. I could run open races, but every time I touched down and ran a hurdle race, it was almost as if I had refractured my leg after months
Wow.
of being off. I couldn't do plyometrics. So I think that was probably the most challenging, is not knowing if I was going to qualify, constantly kind of feeling broken. And the therapy itself was, kind of overwhelming,
Expensive. Yeah.
expensive. It was overwhelming. It was nonstop in the pool, morning workouts, afternoons, treadmill, whatever I could do. So it was like an all day thing. And it was like, am I going to even be able to see it through? And then I was blessed that I got to a meet later on in the early summer, and I actually qualified. I qualified for the games, and I didn't even know I had qualified. I was kind of like, I hope this is, I hope I made it. And so for me, it was one of those moments. That year was tough, and then also going to the games and still wondering, because I was still dealing with that pain and seeing everybody still lifting their weights real strong, jumping on the boxes. I'm like, I'm not doing any of this. Like I can barely, I could walk, but it was definitely a challenge. So it was, you never want, and I had already kind of told myself that, this would be the year that I might retire, because I was 32 by then. There are other things in life that I wanted to do. And so it was probably 2008, which was my hardest year. Just different things going on in life.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
All right, Miss Faustin. So right there with that same question that Ian had asked
Yes.
you. So could you tell us what is your why? What keep you going? What?
My why is my commitment. I always told myself I wanted to run 1264. It was a number that I chose. It's what I wanted to do. And that's what I wanted to hit. My best time was 1274, but I wanted 12.6. I wanted to be in the 12.6 group and faster. And so that was my why. My why was, I always felt like I just felt like I could do it. It was something that I loved. I felt like I didn't get a chance to show. Well, I still wanted the opportunity to show me at my best. You're always saying that, you want to get to your best. So I would say it was probably because I set that number in my head, and that's what I wanted to accomplish. And I wanted to be an Olympian, a medalist. And bring that, for the country of Haiti. That was always the plight. That was like, no, do better for Haiti. Keep putting them on the map. Go as long as you can, so that they can see us in a different light. And it's true, because I would travel and people would say, you're from Haiti? Nah, you're not Haitian. Because there was always a perception of what a Haitian looks like, how a Haitian talks. And so I was happy to say, yeah, we're all different walks of life, and big up to all the Haitians.
Quick question, because that's something that probably touched a lot of us. The way people looked up on us, the way from based on our background, where we're from.
Mm-hmm.
But as an individual, and just to this is like the stereotype of it. When people say you're from Haiti, and it's like they say it with something. You're from Jamaica. It's like how does that affect you as an individual? Because it touched all of us from time to time. It's like they want to separate us from regular people.
Exactly. I think, it comes down to, all the stuff that we're dealing just with the color of our skin, right? You don't want to be put in a group. You don't want to be stereotyped or, characterized when somebody doesn't even know you. It's just one of those things and so that's why I would try to spend extra time with those people, to say, hey, don't judge a book by its color. Look at me for who I am, and then we can talk. But it's just, for me, I guess I would say, yeah, don't judge a book by its color.
Great. All right. 1274. Can you take me back to the feeling when you hit that mark there, even though you did not get to 1264? But what was it like hitting 1274?
It was exhilarating. Anytime you have a PR, it was the Olympic Games. I was in the semifinals. I found out after the fact at the time, in 2004, that was the fastest semifinals ever raced in the Olympic Games. So that was nice to be a part of it. But it was one of those. So for me, it was awesome. Like, I was waiting to see my time on the screen. And then when I realized I didn't make top 4, I was devastated. But then when I saw my time, I was like, all right, I left it on the track. At least I know I left it on the track. And I couldn't ask for anything else. And that's what allowed me to smile the rest of the time. Even though I was, obviously disappointed, I always wanted to fight for gold, have my chance in the finals. But this is the way it ended for me.
Quick question. So, that even though it ended, that PR, it is great. Also, bigger news for Haiti, because I know you'll be Haiti record holder with those. But no, how did they welcome you in the country after your career and doing all this time? How was it like going over to Haiti? Just the love coming from Haiti.
It was awesome. They actually did like a little parade for us, when we would go to the games and then we would come back to the country. Got to spend a little bit of time with the presidents at the time. So they took us in. It was a lot of respect. I was able to take some family members, my grandmother. So she was super proud, and her friends would see her on the TV, and so lots of stuff to talk about. But they really did support. And yeah, I it was nice to also see like the younger kids, to see the kids that were inspired. And then that just let me know and just kind of confirmed, okay, you did your job. You're doing your job. You're helping them see that there's a lot of life out of there. It's just when you have opportunity, are you taking them? So I would say that I enjoyed the way that Haiti would always spread the love for us.
And I think you got that love right across the world,
Yes.
France, I hear you speak about France and how you love France and all.
Yes.
I am yet to travel to France.
Really?
But my wife, surprisingly, my wife went to France. They planned a whole tour, and I was a little scared of what was happening across the world. I'm like to my wife, I don't think I want to take the trip this time around. But then she went with her girlfriend, and man, when they were sending me back all these photos and doing all these excursion and traveling and boat and ship, I'm like, I want to go.
You're like, I'm coming. Pick me up tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, you're too late.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, Ian knows this. It's like once you're in Europe, everything is in pretty good proximity. The trains, it's just you can pretty much go anywhere that you want. And I think I love that flexibility to see the world. When I would be running in the streets, sometimes, like I told you, for long runs and whatnot, it was just always awesome to say, hey, I'm in Paris. I'm running on the streets, like by these boutiques, so yeah, I totally you missed out. You should have been there.
Man, I feel it to this day. I turn it back over to Ian because it start digging that spot again, man.
All right, Nadine. So, yeah, so we're going to move along. We're going to talk about some of the current things that you're doing right now. We know we
Okay.
talk about, a lot of the, what gets you, the grassroots, the track, the college and all that. Just want to move a little bit. And know we're talking about Haiti. We know that, obviously, after you retired, I know that you wanted to still do more for Haiti. So just tell us a little bit about mainly your foundation and the purpose, the mission, what you're doing, and just share with viewers that maybe just watching this program that probably don't know you. Just tell us a little bit about the Nadine Faustin-Parker Foundation.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
I started it in 2007, but I didn't really get to move on it because of, just I would say our crazy schedules with running and competing and competition. And so when I did retire, it was one of those situations where, yes, I wanted to do more and I felt like sports would be the best way. And so I wanted to educate the youngsters using technology that we have. So since I'm obviously abroad, being able to keep a good network with the coaches that were in Haiti or that are in Haiti. So we facilitate and we're able to get an IAAF grant for Athletics Better World. And we were able to get some iPads, get the most prominent coaches in Haiti that have large groups to connect with and be able to kind of give some feedback on the technical aspects of the training with what we have learned here, living abroad versus what they may have resources to. So that was really, I would say, an eye-opening experience and also something that I really enjoy doing with the foundation. I also would say that what I did learn and what we're kind of changing phases of is that we do have to be able to provide nourishment, because what I learned in holding coaches clinics and athletes clinics is that a lot of the students or a lot of the children in Haiti, as in many countries, they're not eating. And therefore, a lot of their inconsistencies in training and their ability to move to that next level came from them just trying to find food. And so that is our mission now, where I want to have something in place more where there's a nutritional component as well as the athletics component. So that's what we're working on. There was a little, I would say, not a setback. I mean, it's a blessing. I had my daughter, but I did find that there was a little bit of a time delay where I wasn't as involved. And so I'm definitely looking to get back and, working with family members as well as coaches in Haiti to get that back going.
All right, awesome, awesome. So I'm pretty sure that if someone are interested to collaborate or join in force with you, how would they go about doing that?
They can reach me via social media or the email address that's on the nfpf.org website. So yeah, they can reach me. I'm all over online as far as my contact information. And I would definitely love to talk and see what we can bring and how we can bridge things together to benefit those in Haiti.
All right, awesome, 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 awesome. So, guys, you hear it from Nadine. Our foundation is to nurture, educate, and to empower individual. So we want to do everything possible that we can to support her and of course the country of Haiti, the Republic of Haiti. So just for any of the viewers that might come across, please feel free to as I said to contact her or contact us. We will make sure that we will get the information to you that you need. So just to move along, to there's something that I wanted to show. This is a little surprise, but we thought this was interesting. It's a little video that we wanted to show that we want the viewers to see too.
Okay.
Just a rebroadcast of something that you did. So
Okay.
yeah, let's see if we could add it in here now. Yeah, yeah.
Hello, Bearcat Nation. We are live from Mason, Ohio. I'm your host, Anthony Parker, and this is the co-host, Miko Alexandra Parker. We have a special guest, and that is Nadine Faustin-Parker.
Hi, you can say how's it going?
It's good. We're so happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
What Olympics did you go to?
I went to the Sydney, Australia Games in 2000, in 2004, Athens, Greece, and in 2008, Beijing, China Olympic Games.
Which one was your favorite?
Which one was my favorite? I'm going to go with Sydney, Australia, because just great memories. It was pre 9/11, so not a whole lot of intense security. And I got to meet Muhammad Ali. And, my first Olympic Games, it was an amazing experience.
Is that your medal right there?
I'm going to tell you about this actually. So this is little memorabilia from Beijing. This is Jingjing the panda, one of the mascots, the 5 friendlies as they called it for Beijing, China. That was supposed to represent they were all in different colors, which represented the Olympic. And so this is Jingjing, and then this is some memorabilia from Athens, Greece, and then my pandas from Sydney, Australia. The medal, cute little story. All my medals I always have given to my parents after I returned home, and I was always, my dad always stressed academics, so always was concerned, how he felt about me being a professional runner. And I kept this medal here because that's the medal that he gave me, telling me that I was the world's greatest athlete in his eyes for a Sydney, Australia party that we had after the Olympic Games. So that's my favorite medal. Of all the medals that I've gotten, that's my favorite medal, no matter what.
Do you think we can be Olympians too?
Who's that? Who's the we? Of course, you guys can be Olympians. The children out there that are listening in, you can be Olympians. You can be whatever it is you want to be as long as you work hard and you believe. So thank you. That was a good
For
question.
being a great Olympian, you should get a stick. You should get the cool.
Okay. Oh, you like the Haiti? Yes, representing the Republic of Haiti. Okay, all right. Co-host is alive and ready to go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to Bearcat News. I'm your host, Anthony Parker. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Oh yeah,
That was awesome. Thank you.
yeah, that was awesome. So over to you, Ian.
Man, Nadine, just so you know, once it comes to kids,
I think I'm frozen.
it means a lot to me. I had a question for you, but it's all gone. That question is all gone. I hear some static here, I'm not sure.
Yes, you kind of froze. So I think
You hear me?
Repeat that.
Hold on. All right. Yeah.
We good?
Yeah. Keep talking, Ian. Yeah. Yeah, let me add her back here. It's coming. Yeah, I'm not sure. It seemed like we lose her a little bit. Yeah, she'll come back on. Yeah. All right, Ian. So
Here we go.
yeah, are you there, Nadine? Are you hearing us? No, we're not hearing her at all. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyway, Nadine, you could call back in. Just for a minute there. Anyway,
yeah.
it's always touching, man. When it comes to kids, you can see they're having a fun time there. It's. I had my question, but I lost it right there.
Well, yeah, I figure it'd be a nice time to talk about the
Yeah,
family,
the
the
family,
kids, the
But
kids,
so far, leading up to this, just talking with Nadine, Faustin-Parker, we could tell basically from a very tender age, her childhood coming up, you could see she had a lot of positive influence, and that included her parents. As you would hear, she said they were her early role models and
yes,
mentors. So, and that is key in any home, in that family. The family is very important, and those principles that you were brought up on. And as you can see, she basically was brought up on some good, strong foundation. And both parents were in the medical field. Basically, they're educators, and they really taught her well. And just to see her and what she have done, over her career part, and to this point that we just had her on there, where she's now basically giving back to the world in terms of coaching and mentoring others. As you say, she spent a lot of time writing, so we know, an author.
Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah, we are hearing you. Yeah, we are just giving an overview of
I
you.
don't know what happened.
Yeah, we're giving an overview of
Okay.
you anyway. You didn't miss much.
I
But
just it was so weird because as the recording was playing, I just started getting a lot of background noise.
yeah,
And then it just signed me out. So I was like, okay, let me try this again.
well, we're glad to have you back here. So you went down. Ian went down my alley when he put on the kids there interviewing you right there.
Right,
I really enjoy every minute I spend with my kids.
right.
And I just want you to take us one day as a parent. Take step away from all the athletics, all the foundation, everything, but just be parenting.
Yes. They're probably the toughest job that I've ever had in my life. They teach me things about myself that I never knew. My son is like an energizer bunny. Like he never stops until he just kind of crashes when he is just absolutely tired. He's already just about my height. He is 9 years old and he's about 5'1.5", 5'2". And so I call him the gentle giant because everybody expects so much from him. But he's because he's so big, but he's a beautiful, loving child. Mikael. So my son is Anthony Daniel Parker, and my daughter's Mikael Alexandra Parker, and she's just hilarious and so witty and so smart. So I mean, I love it, but they test me all the time, and every time they do it, I'm always like, wow, is this what I did to mom and dad? Did I do this? Because I could be stubborn too. So it's a super blessing, but they definitely teach you a lot about yourself.
Great. So my question that we should have probably pulled this one in a long time. How were you able to balance the whole athletics career and then also thinking about a family and actually now having your own family? How challenging was that?
Yeah, it's been very challenging, but I would have to say my husband's very supportive. He used to run at St. Augustine's college, and so he's familiar with the expectations. He's familiar with the sport as a whole. So very supportive in making this work. And then, sometimes, we don't have any family out here in Cincinnati. So, the parents, the in-laws, as well as my parents, they'll step in and they'll help us as well with, watching the children. And so that has been a blessing. That's how I would say it's worked and been supportive. And when they can, the family comes to meets. I've had my sister come and take care of the kids before. My brother's been supportive. So I would have to say the family has helped it to work.
All right. If we're speaking out there to some of the men, we know, I'm just, not that I'm singling out the men, but it oftentimes happens with the men where they leave the home and leave it just to mommy to do everything. Some of them, I don't know if it's just a challenge that they can't handle, but we see that a lot of the homes, it's single parenting. They're missing from the home.
Right.
If you had a message in terms of just to tell them how important of a role the husband or that significant other in a strong man plays inside of the home, especially when you have kids involved in the mix.
Yeah, it's super important for balance for everybody. It's important for the children to see that, we talk about marriage or we talk about partnership, and they need to see that, you can lean on one another. We are their models. So, they're going to, they're watching us every step of the way, as we're the models to see, what it is and how we handle the great times as well as those times of challenge. And so the support system is super important. And just in general, it's one of those things of, it's that work life, I guess I would say, integration. A lot of people say work life balance, but I think it's important that especially for those men that may not be as supportive. It's never too late. But your significant other, your wife, your partner needs you. She needs a breath of fresh air for herself to feel that she can hear her thoughts and be able to move forward. And the kids need you. So it leaves a sense of it's not complete, when you don't have that other half. Can you make it? For sure, for those single parents, and whatnot. But if you have the opportunity to be in the moment with your children, to be in the moment with your significant other or your spouse, take that opportunity, because that is your job. That is what you're on earth to do, is to handle your duties and not leave it for somebody else to do for you.
Okay. With this question, I would just want you to basically mix this with your parenting. So I know you have moved on into coaching, which we want you to tell us a little bit more about the coaching. But in terms of your athletes that you would have coached, I know you would basically treat them like a mother and not just even just as their coach.
Right.
What is the important takeaway that you want people to know about you as a person and as a coach?
It's something I always tell all my prospects, all my recruits. Once you make a commitment and say, Coach Parker, I want you to coach me, and we make that agreement, then we are attached, for the long haul. And I always want them to see me as a lifelong resource, not a seasonal resource. I'm not in this craft, in this profession, so that I can stay in the bright lights or, certain celebrity status or anything, when they excel. It's totally about them. It's totally about them having their aha moments and me being a part of it. So that's what I would say. It's just, I'm there for you. I'm committed to you. And, all I ask is that it's always reciprocated. So yeah, that's what it would be.
So basically, as a parent out there or just as an athlete who are looking to a coach, how do we get to you? What's the process? If you're able to discuss it on here.
Oh yeah, for sure. My cell number, like I said, I'm all over the internet, social media, any which way, you just reach out. I will say, as a parent, as things going on, especially with COVID, just a way of life now. If I don't get right back to you, call me back or send me another text. And just know that I'll definitely try my best to reach back out.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, even
Oh,
after finish with the track itself in terms of you personally doing. But everything lives on through what you're doing now in your coaching. So back to you, Ian.
okay. Well, I'm just gonna keep. This is a little question from me,
Okay.
all from me, but I wanted to find out that how did you actually get into coaching? When did you decide that you wanted to be a coach? How did you get involved?
That's a really good question. I used to think I was going to go into physical therapy. That's what I went to school for. But when I went back to my alma mater and I was still training for Beijing, I would have the time, I would have the opportunity at times to travel with the team. And when I would compete, I remember I was at Penn State, I was on the elite circuit. So I was just preparing for my own personal indoor season. And I remember making it to the finals. And usually as an athlete, you do have a little, you're competitive, right? So you care about your competitors, but you don't really. It's like, all right, I got one up on you. And I just remember, it was with the college kids. We had some of the college kids and some open athletes. And I remember getting to the finals, and I think there were about three hurdlers from Chapel Hill, and two made it in, and one did. And I was like, "How did you do? Are we all in?" And I just remember the one girl saying, "I didn't make it in. There were too many, and there were too many elites, and then these other girls made it in front of me." And I felt horrible, and I never felt horrible like that before. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And with my mind. And I just remember thinking, wow, I'm really enjoying being a mentor more for these kids and being a part of their life. And that's really what kind of let me know, like, because I had been helping out with Team Haiti, I had been helping out some JUCOs, but it was in that moment that I was like, I really could go into coaching. I might change my plans totally and go into coaching.
Okay. And the second question: how long have you been in coaching?
Oh man, 12 plus years. It's definitely been about definitely 13 years.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So, still being on the coaching segment there. So typically, as a coach, what goals do you have for your team? Like, do you guys, how do you go about? Do you guys set up your goals, or it's individually or as a team? What goals do you have typically for your team?
Right. So we bring the full men's and women's teams. We're a combined program, but we'll separate them. And then the women's program and the men's program, they'll come up with their top three goals as a unit. And then each individual coach will sit down with our event group members one on one and discuss with them what their goals are. And then we share with them our expectations and our vision for them for that current year, but then we just kind of give them an idea of the long term as well, so that they keep that in their mindsets. So we do, I guess, a combination of both. I think you have to have the collective group together to discuss what they're aiming for, and then you have to bring the individuals in and sit with them and allow them the time to express themselves to let you know what they're thinking. You try to make sure that you guys are on the same page.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And my third question on the coaching line: what form of educational course did you have to take to or did you do during your coaching career?
I did mostly like USATF certifications. So I have level one, level two, level three, and level three in the jumps. That's for the IAAF and USATF. So I've been doing that. I did just recently get my strength and conditioning certification last year in December for track and field. So just trying to make sure that I'm current with all relevant information, and also obviously networking, because you can grow from your peers in the profession.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, that's all I have for Coach Nadine. Faustin-Parker on her coaching. She's doing an excellent job. 13 years into coaching. She's fully certified, and she's a very have her policy and her So I want to wish you all the best on your coaching career, and just looking forward to see you, you know, in the Olympics and all the things that the goals and that you may have in coaching. So
Thank
over
you.
to you, Ian.
Hey Nadine,
Thank you.
all right, see you're doing a lot of coaching. Is there any Usain Bolt that we can look out for coming from under your umbrella? Any Shelly and Fraser there that early that we need to look out for right now?
Yeah, we do have a great group of youngsters right now. I would say um, our two standouts right now, coming off from last year, Kasia Chandler. She ran 22.9 in the 200. She's a she's a junior now, but did that last year right before the pandemic shut everything out. And then Chris Bozer, he's 20.7 in the 200 as well. Really humble youngsters, working hard. They grind every day, but they really have a dream to, be an Olympian. They tell me every single day that's what they want to do. And so my goal is to help them to become Olympians. Chris is also from Haiti, and Kasia has represented the U.S. on the junior team in Costa Rica, where they got the gold medal in the 4x1 relay.
Good to know. Thank you. We'll be looking out for those athletes, and also as a student, I know that their A grades are ready. Having you as a mentor and a coach, um, right there.
Thank
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So, you're back to me.
No,
Um,
I was hearing a little scratching
background.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it stopped now.
Okay. Okay. So that's very good what you're doing in the coaching world. I really love it that you're able to expand your wings after even track and field for yourself. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, and probably this one should have been earlier too, is I know you said physiotherapist or something like that you want to do. I was gonna ask you, how did you get away from not really pushing in the medical field with both parents really rooted in medical field?
Yeah, like I said, communication is big in our household. So, I just talked to them about it. They did, ask me all the tough questions to make sure I'm going in the path that my heart truly desires. They wanted to make sure it wasn't a one-time thing, or just a lot of uncertainty. And, when I expressed to them, how I was feeling, how I felt like I could benefit and empower others, they were supportive, and that's what I've loved about my parents. They're always supportive. They're gonna ask the tough questions. They're gonna make sure I have my option B, my option C, if need be. But very supportive. And my mom and dad, they said, it's not for everybody. When I was a paid intern at a PT clinic, I remember a patient came in, and all you could see on the patient's leg was his fibula. He had lost his tibia. He had lost the front half of his leg. And I remember turning to the other therapist, to the PT, and saying, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do this one. This one is a lot to stomach." And it was just at that moment when he said, Nadine, we can't pick our patients. Whoever comes to our clinics, we have to take care of them. And I just remember that really being hard for me. And I always told my mom and dad, working in the hospital, I didn't know that would be a place for me. And for me, after having that experience, I was like, I would never want to have to look at a patient and turn the other way because I couldn't stomach it. So for me, it was like that. I didn't belong there. That was just not for me. For just I guess I would be too emotional with it. It was like, why? What happened? And that's not the place nor the time. My job at that time would be to heal and to help them out physically. So I found that to be tough. So for me, they understood where I was coming from. It wasn't like I hadn't had experience. I had done over 300 hours in PT, and so from my training, I realized I needed to go a different route.
Okay. So with all the knowledge and experience that you have gained over the period of your own athletic career path and your journey now as a coach, as a parent, if I was to ask you just basically give a word of mentoring to a group of students now who is basically in your, I would say, your even session, what would that speech be like?
Um, we're all purposed, and you have to know why you do what you do. And you have to know that within your purpose, that others see your value, but you also have to be prepared to walk in those shoes and grow in those shoes so that you too eventually can how would I say, you can eventually lead others in the right direction too. And so, let's focus. Let's look at the plan that we have for today. If it's a, depending if I'm giving them a track workout, and say it's time to go, it's go time. Don't think twice about it. And that's pretty much how I start, my days on many occasions, because they have to know that their purpose. They have to know that there's a plan for everything that we're doing. But they have to go hard, and they have to be in the moment so that they can reap the benefits and help other people as well.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so we're going to move to the segment of being an author. I know that we've been having a good time, so we just want to talk a little bit about you've been just liking to write for all your life, and knowing
Right.
that you've been hearing this people telling you that you could write a book, and you should write a book. You probably hear that a million times. So just tell us a little bit about how did you when did you decide that you wanted to write an official children book, and just talk to us a little bit about the book. Obviously, we know we can't talk about the whole book, but
Right.
because we want people to purchase the book. you
Right,
know.
right, right. Um,
You know.
I would say that as as I was starting to coach, I was thinking about the times that I had as a professional athlete, and eventually wanting to share it with my kids. So, with our handy dandy cell phones and laptops, if there was an idea that came to mind, I started jotting things down, and I would email them to myself.
Okay.
And I would start a little script here and again. And if for whatever reason, I couldn't really clearly see a picture, I would make sure that I just jotted down what's in my thoughts and hope to develop it later. So I had a bunch of emails that I had sent to myself. And I remember actually during the pandemic saying, oh my goodness, I thought this was just going to be for 3 weeks. And then we're back, back on the road, because I was always so busy. I couldn't find an illustrator. So once I realized that it was going to be longer, and I had at least about a month to 6 weeks before I was going to go back to work, I decided to go ahead and pull those scripts out and work on them. And then in the meantime, I had tried illustrators in the past. And this time I wouldn't stop until I found an illustrator that I felt was able to bring light to, what I pictured. And so that's kind of how it took flight. And by May, was able to work with a publishing company and see it through. And that's how it came about. But I had been writing these little scripts and little stories about my trips, but trying to relay it to children. That's what I wanted to do. Kind of bring. I wanted to be. It's one of those things of when I finished running. I guess I should have said this before. And I would drive to different states and visit different places. I remember there were some impoverished areas, and thinking about the kids in Haiti too, where there's some people that never travel. They just stay within the perimeter of where they're from, their neighborhood. They never see anything outside of their block, And I was like, I would want to allow them to dream. I would want them to see, even if it's in a book, I call it a bookcation, be able to go ahead and travel, even if it's through a bookcation. So that was something that was, kind of motivated me. And so I have the English and the French version out, so that hopefully that I can not only inspire but help to bring some peace and some different aspects of life for those who don't get to travel, and for those who do travel, aspire to go to those places or even relive the great memories that they have from traveling.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, we're very inspired about your book. And obviously, can you tell us a little bit about the name? Obviously, I could guess, but just for the viewers that don't know you,
Right,
are
right.
just wanted to find more about the book. Where did the whole name inspiration comes from?
Yeah, so it's titled Little Tony's Worldly Adventures, and my firstborn is Anthony Daniel, and so short for Tony, and so that's kind of how the title developed, and I loved it. So he thinks it's all about him. I'm like, well, they're my trips. You haven't been there, but he loves knowing that he's a part. And my daughter's like, what about me? And so my son is
Oh,
like, you have to introduce her into the story. So I'm working on that right
Second book.
okay, okay, yep, yep, yep. Second book is coming,
Yes,
definitely.
I'm working on
We're
that.
we're looking forward for that. That's such an awesome story, and I'm really just wish you all the best
Thank
with
you.
the second book, and we're wishing little Tony all the best. So just to for me before I know Ian might want to ask you something about that.
Hmm.
So what's the I want to say what for viewers how does the purchasing the book what's the cost, how would that help what's the purpose of that book, purchasing the book, what's the goal for you or what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, I have a couple of things. I have for me, it's like I also have this program where I'm trying to help some Olympians. So some of the book proceeds, I am looking to filter that in to help Haitian athletes pick a woman and a male, pick a female and a male. To get something, even if it's just a donation or a grant, to help them with supplements or, nutrition or massage or chiropractor, because those expenses do add up. And with the upcoming year, so I'm using some of the proceeds for that. And then I mean, ultimately the goal is just to get other people out there to travel, and to have a good time. But it's the book itself is 118 pages. It's a read and color, so it's text and color. But the pictures, I wanted to tap in, having my son and watching him. I remember at times I would say, so what do you see when I'm reading this book? When he started going into chapter books with not a whole lot of pictures. And he would say, not a whole lot. I don't know. And so I was like, oh my goodness, I need to tap into his creativity a little bit more. And so I said, I figured for my book that I would want to help other parents to tap into their creativity as well, that creative side of the brain, where they're able to just bring color and vision, the pictures as they see it, and help us to see how they would see the pictures to be vivid. So within that, it's a read and color, and so I like that combination. And then the price is $29.99 because it's a collection of 5 books. It's a collection of a book of Australia, Switzerland, Brazil, China, and France. And so what I did was, instead of having single books, I said, well, what better way so it can go into more families, kind of creating a bargain deal for them where they get 5 books at the price of 3. So
Okay,
that was
awesome,
that was
awesome.
that's how it kind of came about. I In order to get it into more households, I figured that that would be a better way to have those 5 books. And then I think it's nice that the parents don't have to keep grabbing for another book. They have it all in one. And then,
Okay,
when they want a little bit of free time, they can tell their kids, hey, pull out the crayons or the colored pencils and, do a little activity.
all right. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to try to show a little clip of Little Tony Adventure.
Okay.
Yeah. Ian, go ahead. Uh,
All right. So with this book, since we're here, what's the targeted age group? As I have 2 kids here, one is just 2.5 years old, one is 10 months old. So for the parents that watching us now, and they may be interested in the book, what year or age
Yes.
group are we looking to target here?
Yeah, so we're targeting pre-K to third grade, and pre-K because, and even younger. I mean, I had my daughter when I first finished the book, she was about 3. And what I see is that, she loved hearing the stories, but obviously the color aspect and them learning to read, that's for the older ages. But I really feel like if it's in the household at a young age, because parents should be reading to their kids in general, I think that it's a positive. But the general age group is pre-K to third grade.
Great. And that's what I'll say to parents. It's never too early to have your kids start reading. And even though you're reading to them and you may think they don't comprehend, trust me, they do. My
Right.
child is basically 2.5 years old now, and I'm reading a book that is meant for adults. And one of our athletes also wrote that book, How God Sees Me. And the moment I just say the title, she was able to repeat it. She go in and read. She's now reciting things from the book, you know, and that is so amazing because I didn't even think that she would even remember this. So for parents, I'll say it's never too early. So definitely, I want to get a hold of that book, but I also recommend all the parents get a hold of it. I just listen to you on here, and you're just loaded with inspiration. Everything that you say is just positivity all over it.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely, I'll have my kid dive into that book, and we wait for the other one. Where your little daughter, you
All
definitely
right.
do that one, and then I think we gotta check into the movie because people told you back then you gotta.
That would be great. I'd love that.
Yeah, it will be coming. You're not gonna sit down and get bored or anything. You got a lot of energy and a lot in you. So we know it's gonna be coming. Just probably the timing. So we'll be looking out. We'll be following you. And
Thank you.
I just really want to say that I'm proud of you. Proud of everything that you have done thus far. And going into the future, what else can we expect from you, though?
Oh yeah, I mean, sky's the limit. I always tell my parents there's so many other things that I want to do. I would definitely say I have a few more collections that I'm working on, so you already noted that. And then, hopefully, I'll be there at the NCAAs and, the Olympic Games with some prominent athletes, realizing their dreams. And then also being able to really have something set in place with the foundation, but really having a consistent nutrition component established. It's a little harder when they say in the diaspora, when you're out, when you're abroad, you're not living, within the country. And so figuring that out figuring that out. I have family that's still in Haiti, but they have lives, they have work that they're doing and everything. So I can't just say, hey, this is my vision here, I need you to implement it for me. So I think it's finding a better way of communication and consistency where I'm able to see the fruits of the labor really grow and develop. And so still working on that.
Great. All right. Back to you there, Ian.
All right. So this is my last one or two questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just gonna pretty much this is my last question, but it's gonna be a three-part question.
You're
Um,
in trouble.
yeah. So this year now, it's just like speaking to just speaking out loud. What you like mostly of being a mother? Just if you wanted to say something about yourself, what you like mostly about being a mother.
Oh man, motherhood. I just love that God trusted me to be able to have two beautiful kids, to grow up hopefully the way that will be pleasing to Him. So I'm thankful for that. I know there are some people that are not in a position to do it for various reasons, to be a mother or a father. So I'm honored at the opportunity. I take it seriously. So I'm thankful.
All right. Thankful. That's the key there. And the second part of the question is same question. What you like mostly about being a wife?
Being a wife, okay. That's a good question. No, but I think it's a partnership. I don't think until you're married well, I can't speak for everybody, but I think for me, I learned that, when you exchange your vows, there's way more than just a wedding day, and I think it's learning to have that balance, and learning your partner, and understanding that as perfect as you want them to be, they may not live up to that perfection, but neither do I, right? We all have our flaws. So I think it's realizing that, I have a colleague that always says, when you get frustrated, just remember them in that perfect time, during that perfect moment, and I think it's just really just entrusting and understanding that it's through the good and the bad, and understanding that, when you make that commitment, you try to own up to it. So the best part of being a wife, I think, is the bond, is the yeah, I would say the bond, and then knowing that you can lean on somebody, but also knowing that, with it, there's beauty in everybody's imperfections.
All right. And then the easy part is, what's the best thing being a coach?
The best thing is, when they're doing their workouts, I'm the one on the clock, but the best thing I would say, for me, it's always those moments when you see those kids that have those serious PRs, and it just takes them to a whole nother level. And if you can actually catch them in that emotion, it's exhilarating, because I know that I have helped them to become more assured and confident in their abilities. Even though, we see young people and we're like, oh man, that person has what it takes. But you want them to realize it. And sometimes, in general, and as people, we can get in our way. So it's nice to see when they have that, when they come to that realization of, I did it. And, that success story. That's what I'm in the game for.
All right. All right. All right. Well, 3 out of 3, all pass mark.
Yay!
And yeah, so that's my that's my conclusion.
All right, yeah, we're not gonna let her get off so easy. So we're two guys here, and I wanna ask this question, before you leave the platform. Just give a shout out to the strong man, who is, sometimes they say behind every strong man or every man there's a strong woman.
Right.
I realize you guys, it's partnership, togetherness. I just ask that you just give a shout out to your hubby, your husband, just what you love about him, and also to give a shout out to the fans, and that's it from me.
All right. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to my husband, Anthony Parker, who's always been supportive. And he helps me to be my best me. He helps me to go out there and be a light. And, it's just from whether it's support with the kids or just within my profession of sticking things out and persevering. So I appreciate that greatly out of him. And, again, it's just, um, just being loving and supportive. So I truly appreciate that. And then to the fans out there, I appreciate you. I'm thankful that you took the time to look at, this broadcast, as well as the rebroadcast when you watch it later. And then just follow your dreams, follow your gut. If you have something that you want to do, go ahead and get it done, and just find the supportive people. So, surround yourself with the supportive people, to see you, live it through and accomplish what it is that you want to do. And always just try to be your best you. It can be hard. We're dealing like in this pandemic, and sometimes I say, what is going on? But at the end of the day, if you're, when you're rooted, when you get to the core of things, I would say that, you can continue to stay focused on your why, and all the things that you do, and, just be your best you.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
All right. And I just want to say, you've been so positive today. You've been just, I can't say it enough. the entire program, just positivity with you. And I would never have gone down the negative road with COVID. But after, we think we're gonna bring you back. And this time back is how you dealt with this period. We're gonna let it flow. But when you come back, you tell us how did you make it through this period. We ain't gonna go down the negative road. But I just say to everybody, just stay calm and know that there's a God that who, he'll protect you. Just as this evening, he would have delivered me, he'll deliver you. Just leave it in his hand.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So, fans, friends, and family, on behalf of Real Talk with Ian and Ian, we're so thankful. We feel so blessed to be able to come to you on another Sunday evening with a positive message. We hope that this program may inspire you in some ways, and it'll be a blessing to someone. And we actually continue to support us in any way you can. Watch the program, just like it, and share it, and comment about it. And we just want to thank you again for everyone that going to be looking at the program today, tomorrow, or whenever they get a chance. 1, 2, 3 minutes. I hope that you may find some inspiration in some way. So on behalf of that, I know I want to end by just showing this little Tony adventure. It's going to be like a 1-minute feature of
Thank you.
And
about it.
thank you very much, Miss Faustin-Parker. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on this platform and talk about my life, and get to know you guys a little bit as you got to know me too. And I appreciate it. It takes a village. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let me try this now.
Okay.
Little Tony's Worldly Adventures by Nadine Faustin-Parker. Dear new friend Little Tony, ever since Little Tony was 2 years old, he's had the opportunity to join his parents on family vacations and business engagements across the world. His passport is filled with colorful customs services, stamps from entering and leaving different countries. He has such a great memory and loves to share his experiences with family and friends. He hopes to open your eyes to places and things you look forward to when you travel. If you have already visited these countries, you definitely be reminded of the wonderful time you had. If not, let little Tony take you around the globe and introduce you to the beauty of places far away. Enjoy coloring in all the pictures with crayons or colored pencils as you imagine little Tony on his adventures in this series. Little Tony will share his travels and experiences in Switzerland, Paris, China, Brazil, and Australia. Turn the page and enjoy the trip. Bye bye.
I love it.
Thank you. That's little Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
get
so
that book.
awesome.
Before you go, where do I get the book? Amazon, where?
Yeah, we have it on. It's online at Amazon, Target, Bookshop. My goodness, Walmart, Powell's Books. So it's out there and available. Barnes and Nobles as well.
We got it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Nadine. Be safe and talk to you soon.
Yes,
all right. Thank
for
you.
sure. God bless. I appreciate it. Good to
All
have some
right.
time with you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye
Bye bye.
bye. All right.